Happy New Year, and welcome to Season 3 of Health is the Key, the podcast that explores the health and wellness issues that matter to 1199 SEIU healthcare workers. I'm your host, Elizabeth Moore. We hope you found the time to enjoy the holidays and connect with family and friends, and to reflect on your health journey over the past year. Remember, every step counts, and we're sure you've achieved more than you think you have. As we kick off the new year, we're doubling down on our commitment to support you on that journey. No pressure, no unrealistic goals, and we promise you will not hear the word resolutions in this episode. Instead, today we're talking about simply recommitting to making your health a priority. And so we're happy to be joined by Dr. Lela Mayers, our Deputy Chief Medical Officer. With Dr. Mayers, we'll explore all the resources you can access to make changes big and small that will help get you healthy now and healthy later. Welcome to Health is the Key, Dr. Mayers.
Thank you. Very glad to be here.
So we're not talking new year, new you that we see everywhere in magazines, on TV. That's not realistic, a new you. So it's more like new year, same you, only better. And it's not about setting pie-in-the-sky goals. It's not about strict do's and don'ts. So it's just about making your health a priority. So can you talk a little bit about the power behind our new healthy now, healthy later philosophy?
Sure. I think we all know that if we take care of ourselves now, we can be much healthier later on. I think we all know that intellectually, but I think it can be hard to act on it sometimes because it seems so distant. I'll get to it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next year. And I think, I really like this theme for January because I do really endorse this, right? Small changes now can have really big impact later on.
Mm-hmm. And it's always easy to put off the annual checkup. It's like, oh, it's just a checkup. I can do that later.
I feel fine. Why do I need to go to the doctor?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we want to have our members get comfortable with an annual checkup, get comfortable with having a primary care physician. So how do they get started? If they don't have one, how can they start looking for one?
Well, there are many ways to do this. In reality, what most people do is talk to friends and family and ask for a good recommendation for a primary care doctor. Of course, we have a tremendous amount of resources too. People can go online and search for a primary care doctor on our website. They could also call and ask for help finding someone. We have lots of other resources too. If you're busy, you don't have time to go into an office, Teladoc offers a virtual primary care doctor who you can connect with and who can take care of all of your primary care needs, which even sending you off to a lab to get blood tests done so that they can review them with you.
Right. So it's more than just a video consult.
I think people tend to think of Teladoc as an urgent care resource, which it also is, of course, and people should use it. Our members have access to it 24/7 call. But again, we do have primary care docs offered through Teladoc that people can access.
So say you want to get started, but you just don't know what to look for in a doctor. And I know we have this resource on our website, our Healthy Living Resource Center, covers this information on what to look for in a primary care, how to develop a trusting relationship with one. So I think your idea of asking family and friends is a great idea, but what should you be looking for in a PCP?
It's sort of a deceptively easy question, right? Because it can vary tremendously from person to person. What I would prioritize may be different from what you would prioritize. So I would look for someone who I have an easy rapport with, right? I can talk to easily. I can ask questions. I don't feel rushed. Other people might prioritize someone who is an expert in their field about certain conditions or what hospital doctors are affiliated with can matter to some people. Where they're located obviously also matters. And of course, you want to find someone who you feel you can trust, who you can talk to. So does that matter what gender they are, what their ethnic or background is? Does that, you have to think about all of those things. But again, it could just come down to meeting someone and deciding whether or not you want to work with them, if you like them. And, there's no shame or problem in saying, you know what, this is not the doctor for me, and then trying again to find someone.
Right. So it's all individual and
it's very personal.
And on our provider directory, you can have a lot of those filters, proximity to where you live or work and gender. And so that's a great resource. Yeah. So one of the key aspects of getting your annual checkup and our Healthy Now, Healthy Later initiative is preventive care. And a big part of that is knowing your numbers. So can you explain a little bit about knowing your numbers? And what are some of the conditions that your doctor can tell from these numbers?
Your blood pressure obviously will indicate whether or not you have high blood pressure, right? And whether or not you require medication to keep it under control so we can avoid stroke and kidney disease, heart attacks, and all of that. Same with cholesterol, right? So your cholesterol panel can reflect the need to either take a medication, or some people really just require dietary changes or increasing exercise to get their cholesterol under control, because as we know, cholesterol can lead to heart attacks and conditions. Blood tests for diabetes, checks for diabetes, right? So if you're at risk for having diabetes, your doctor will want to check this number and either begin diet exercise regimen with you. Maybe you can see sort of medication.
And that's it goes back to having a good relationship with your doctor, because you can ask him or her questions about the numbers, and they can advise you, this looks a little high, but don't worry about it because some
right. We were just talking about this earlier, right? So some people may have a slightly elevated cholesterol level, for example, but given their other risk factors, may not require medication right away, right? They can just work on diet and exercise. But if they were to have a lot of other medical problems, they may require medication to rapidly bring down their cholesterol.
So when we were talking about getting a baseline of your numbers, it's all about how to work with them and stay healthy. So we have talked in the past about the building blocks of health. So can we just go through a little bit, because so much of preventive care is about taking steps now to stay healthy later. So we can start with, knowing your numbers is step one, obviously. And then if we can just go into the different aspects like healthy eating. And a doctor, as you said, may refer you to a nutritionist, but the doctor also can offer you some guidelines. So how can you get started just working on your diet?
Again, this goes back to where we started, right? Many of us know what we should be doing. We often say, I'm not going to do that today. I'll do it tomorrow. But I do think everything in moderation, right? We do want to avoid the all or nothing diets, right? The cutting out huge categories of food, because we know that they're just, for most people, they're not really realistic. Not many people can stick to that rigid diet for the rest of their lives, essentially. So I like to think about small steps that you can take, small changes that you can make to things that you're already doing, so that it becomes just part of what you do every day. This is both for diet and exercise. And one of the things that I remember is, this is an old Weight Watchers trick. And Weight Watchers we have access to it for our members, right? Mm-hmm. But one of their tricks that they used to say was to eat 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. And I used to recommend that to patients when I was in practice, because really, if you eat 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, you're full. And you don't really have time for the French fries and the hamburgers that you don't. But again, once a week, have a French fries and a hamburger. But the rest of the time, be mindful of what you're eating. A common one here in New York City, right, in terms of exercise. Get off the train and stop early. I sometimes take the express instead of the local, and so I walk back, right? So it gives me a little bit more exercise every day, and I get home at the same time, because local versus express, right? I know that's not realistic for everybody, especially if you're working shift and you get off in the middle of the night and you don't want to walk home in the middle of the night. Little changes like that can over time become habit, right? Because they say that it takes weeks and weeks to develop a new habit. You're not going to develop that new habit unless you start.
Right. And I think people don't give themselves enough credit that a small change. I am not a big fruit eater, but I get the little mandarins from Trader Joe's, and I have 2 of those, and I'm like, well, those count. I've just counted 2.
Not that hard.
And it's just like little simple things, like I've started getting away from diet sodas because I know they're not great for you, but I'll have a little bit of lemonade, 1/4 of lemonade, 3/4 of seltzer. And it's satisfying. It tastes like a real drink. And that makes a difference. And I don't think people give themselves enough credit when they make these small changes.
Yeah, and switching from white rice to brown rice, switching from white pasta,
Even
say
mixing
whole
it.
wheat, or mixing it together. Yeah, that's a great
That's a good
idea.
start.
So yeah, instead of having just, I don't think you can cook them together because they have different cooking times.
Yeah.
But cook them separately and mix them together. Same thing with rice, right? A little bit of brown. I've actually done that. I just had some frozen leftover rice that I mixed together, and it was delicious, right?
Yeah.
Mixing them together. So.
And it also with exercise, I don't think people give themselves enough credit. Your phone, the number of steps you take on your phone, it's a really good measure that you can just, well, maybe I will walk an extra 500 steps. And it's like a little boost. It gives you a little encouragement, like, oh, I did a few more steps than I did yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's a great point because we're all sort of hung up on this get 10,000 steps a day, which in the winter in New York is hard unless you're actually focusing on it, right? You don't really want to walk through the slush so yes, but just encouraging yourself another couple hundred steps instead of aiming for the perfect 10,000 steps. If I don't get it, there's no point in trying. Right? That's not a productive way of thinking, right? You want to just increase a little bit every day.
Yeah. And I think our members need to give themselves enough credit because they're on their feet a lot.
Many people are probably getting their 10,000 steps just at work.
Yeah. So you should be proud of yourselves. So one thing that we overlook sometimes is mental health. And I don't think people take enough time for that. And again, little bits throughout the day, taking a moment for yourself for self-care. We're big proponents of self-care. How can members work a little bit of that into their day?
When I was an intern, which is an incredibly stressful time of life, right? I mean, besides personal life, to the work, then being new in the hospital, not knowing where anything is, not knowing how to take care, having to look things up all the time. And it can feel overwhelming. So one of the recommendations I got from my residency director at the time was when you're feeling that way and you're feeling overwhelmed, just stop, take 3 slow breaths in and out, and see it as a reset to get yourself collected because you know, a little bit of affirmation. I know what I'm doing. I'm here. I graduated med school. I got into a residency right? Just affirming that you can do what you need to do. That's one way that people can sort of stop and just reflect.
I think people need to feel that it's okay to feel a little burnt out sometimes. It's normal.
It's normal. And especially with all the news that's going on in the world today. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot, and it's a lot to take in. You know, one of the things I was thinking about is we have to detach from our phones and from the social media feed every once in a while. Take a holiday. Don't look at your phone.
It's not FOMO. You're not going to miss anything if you put the phone down.
It's going to be there when you wake up in the morning or, the next day. And a lot of it can be very stressful to try to keep up with everything that's going on or even to think about everything that's going on. So, I think people do need a little bit of a social media holiday. Might not be a bad idea.
No. And to go along with that, I think the importance of sleep is overlooked. There used to be, and there may still be a little bit of that mindset that I can sleep later and I'll power through this. And that's not such a great idea. You really do need to sleep to restore physically and mentally.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of articles lately about this, how lack of sleep is leading to poor health. I think we've known that for a while, and I think it's not just the amount of sleep, it's quality of sleep. I'm old enough. I can remember going to bed without my phone, my iPad next to my bed. I had a book, which I'd read a couple pages and fall asleep. And I think many of us, myself included, have gotten into terrible habits with, I have to have my phone. I have children. What if they need to talk to me? What if there's a family emergency? It's not very healthy. It is, we talk about something called sleep hygiene when people are having insomnia or difficulty sleeping, right? How to clean out your bed, your room, so that you don't have devices. That's the number one recommendation, but I'd be willing to bet most people have a device in their bedroom somewhere.
At home, we have tried to put them in the chargers in another room. And I'm also trying to do I think it's 2 hours before bedtime, no screens, like no TV. That's a little harder. But I do notice the nights that I do that, I sleep a little sounder, except for the cat waking me up at 4 a.m. And it does matter. It matters to the next day. The next day you feel a little more energetic, a little more recharged. So
I think that's great. And this is what we were talking about in the beginning. Try it, right? Like make that little, you don't have to say to yourself, okay, next year I'm not going to have a phone in my bedroom. Just try it for a day, okay, I'll try 1 day a week, or I'll try it once and see if I can handle it, and see what you learn. I think 2 hours of no screen time is probably step 5 for many people. But, if that, try it once, see what happens.
Right.
If it impacts your sleep. And if it does, maybe you can prioritize it. Something that you want to do. Yeah.
As you said earlier, it takes a little while for a habit to form.
It does.
Yeah,
it does.
So,
and it also takes a while. It could take a while to see beneficial outcomes too, right? So it might not happen the first night. Maybe the second night you'll feel something different.
That's an important point, because I feel like a lot of people, when they start doing these things, they want to see instantaneous results.
Right.
Like, well,
I
tried that and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do it anymore.
Right.
But yeah, give yourself some grace and some patience.
Right. I didn't eat the chocolate cake, but I didn't lose 5 pounds. What happened?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to.
Yeah. So these things take time.
Yes.
So in addition to just the basic building blocks of health, the benefit funds have a lot of resources for members who are healthy now and want to stay healthy later, or do have some conditions that they need help with. So can you just give us a little overview? I know that we have so many on our Healthy Living Resource Center, in addition to new partnership programs that we have.
Yeah, I'm going to encourage people to go look online at our website to look at some of these to get better descriptions. But we have several programs focusing on weight loss, for example. So we are partnered with Weight Watchers. Our members can get a very low cost or no cost, depending on your health condition, Weight Watchers subscription. We have Flight Health, which is a doctor-driven program for people who are looking to lose weight. We also have a program for people with diabetes and or high blood pressure called Oshner, which again is like a program where members and their families can work with doctors, nutritionists, nurse practitioners to really get their conditions under control. Virta isn't one that's been around, I think, for a while. It helps members manage their diabetes mainly through diet and exercise. And also members have unlimited visits to a nutritionist, right? That maybe that someone would prefer doing that, right? Just working with a nutritionist, talking about weight loss.
So we also have online resources that members can access. Can you talk a little bit about those?
We have webinars that are live periodically, but then exist online for people to watch, where we talk about many different aspects of health. One thing that we offer that I don't know if many people are aware of is exercise classes twice a week online.
That's right. Yeah.
So Tuesday evenings and I think Saturday in the morning, right? There's a yoga class, there's a dance class. There are online activity classes that people can do. To go back to Weight Watchers, there's meetings, weekly meetings, twice weekly meetings with a coach as a group, which is unique to $11.99. It's a special perk, right? So you can meet with a coach and other people who are on Weight Watchers. It's like the classic weigh-in, but it's virtual. You can talk to other members who are using the program and a coach.
And all the partnerships that you had talked about, too, the thing that they sort of fall under our umbrella, the choice is yours. We talk about how, everybody's different. It's not one size fits all. So if you try one of these programs and they don't work, there's another one you can try.
Yeah, I love that too. I mean, on the one hand, it can be a little overwhelming. Which one do I pick? And we have resources online to help you choose. We also have live resources. Our wellness nurses will gladly talk to you about which one might be a better fit for you. You can call in to speak to someone.
Right. You're not going alone on
this.
Like,
you're not.
There's support for you.
And if it turns out to be wrong, no harm. Switch to another one.
Right. Again, I think, especially since this is our January episode, we're trying to emphasize it's not all or nothing. There are options out there, and we're here for you. We can always help guide you through this. Our Healthy Living Resource Center is like a one-stop shop for each category, for healthy eating, healthy body, healthy minds. And actually, too, when you were talked about our webinars, we have Healthy Mind webinars that we partnered with NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness in New York, that you can tune into and attend and get support from other people who are going through similar things you're going through. We also have our members' voices, inspirational videos.
Oh, those are great. Yeah,
they are so great. Our members are so generous with their time and sharing their stories.
It's always great to hear other people's stories too, to find maybe you'll find a little motivation for yourself.
Yeah. And you don't feel like I'm the only one.
I'm the only one.
Yeah.
You're not the only one.
Yeah. And two, our podcast, since we've begun our podcast, we've been trying to cover all the issues that matter to 1199 SEIU healthcare workers. So we want to hear from you, members. We want to hear what you want to hear, what you would like us to cover on these podcasts. So please drop us a line. We have contact information in our show notes. So I think we've covered everything to get a healthy start on January. Is there any last bit of information you'd like to leave with our members?
I just want to emphasize the importance of really where we started, finding yourself a primary care doctor. I think it starts there. Yeah. I mean, full disclosure, I am a primary care doctor. But no, I do think it's important to have someone that you can have a relationship with. No one really plans on getting sick. But when you do, you would like to know that you have a doctor that's there for you, that you have a relationship with, who has your basic information, so that you can, someone to turn to.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. I always
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy
too.
and healthy New Year.
Yes.
So we want to hear from you. Share your progress with us, your triumphs, and even your setbacks. We're here to listen to you. So please visit our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and drop us a line. Let us know how you're doing. Tune in later this month to our January keynote to hear Dr. Mayers explain the basics of the annual checkup and the role it plays in keeping you healthy now and healthy later. For more information on what you heard today, please check our show notes. And remember, subscribe to Health is the Key wherever you get your podcasts. This podcast and its content are presented solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. The information and opinions provided on this podcast are not intended as legal or medical advice and do not constitute or serve as a substitute for professional medical or psychological treatment, diagnosis, therapy, or other types of professional intervention.